Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here, and this is going to be a video I assume I'm going to lose a lot of subscribers on, but it's a video that needs to be done. And what we're going to go through here is going to be uncomfortable for people because it's going to present real numbers, because I can't tell you how many people have messaged me and essentially said that New York inflated the numbers by almost 4,000 deaths that were not coronavirus. And I'm trying to explain to people that is not the case. And I actually reported on it before the New York Times. And I'm going to explain all of it. I'm going to show you real numbers. And I hope that a lot of people out there are not just going to go by what they think their gut is or repeat what somebody else has said. I'm going to focus on New York because I have the first-hand accounts from two hospitals and another medical facility. Okay, one in Brooklyn, one in Stony Brook, and one in Queens. And for those that think that there is not a virus, we're going to go over that information, that there is absolutely a virus, okay? And we're going to show you why the death count, although it's still enormous in New York State, I want to assure you of that, is going down, and that's a good thing. Because I'm also seeing people, how do I say this? Playing at a narrative that somehow I'm changing my tune. I've been reading from my conversations with nurses and nurse personnel, right? Well, there's another medical guy. He's not a nurse, whatever. I've been telling you that. I haven't conflated anything. Now, what have I got wrong? I'll tell you what I got wrong, and I'm glad I got it wrong. They did not militarily seal off that area from New Rochelle, and I'm so glad I got that wrong, and I hope they don't do that. But other than that, we are under martial law. That is disturbing. It is a very real virus, and it is taking a lot of lives in New York City, especially. All right. And we're going to show you all that evidence in a moment. I do want to say this. As you know, I've been fully demonetized, and I want to thank the Burmis Brigade for keeping me alive here. I got to hit that 5K goal every time. So 5, 10, 15 bucks. It does absolutely mean the world to me. And right now, where do I start? Okay, where do I start? Should I start with the 4,000 people? Okay, for instance, maybe we should just start right there. Okay, because the other thing is, can anybody show me a video where I said stay at home or I'm for the lockdown? Never. I've always said the response to this, if it was going to be successful, we would actually have to address the virus itself, aka the bioweapon that has been released on the public. That's real. Okay, that's the thing. They released a bioweapon on the public. Not just the United States, not just China, not just Italy, not just Spain. It's a bioweapon, okay? I want to make that very clear. So you can go back and check out my past videos, and you'll see that, yes, I was reporting on this, that more than 3,600 elderly people have died from coronavirus in nursing homes, but the government hasn't counted them, right? And this, to me, was a big, big reality because the same thing was happening in New York. Now, you can say, oh, well, they had a pre-existing condition, Jason. Look, if I have heart disease and I'm healthy otherwise, I haven't had a heart attack or anything like that, all of a sudden I have the flu-like symptoms. They test me, and don't get me wrong, I've talked about the tests back and forth, and then I end up dying from this within days. What do you think killed me? Like, use common sense, guys. In other words, when we're going to look at the New York numbers especially, okay, when we're going to look at, let's see, where literally, you know, these are stacking up, guys. All right? And this is in, I believe, Nassau County, or no, I'm sorry, Suffolk County, in refrigeration units. And look, I'm not a purveyor of the mainstream media, and I get that people are skeptical. Oh my God, it's on CNN, it can't be true. We don't.
The Suffolk County morgue nearly overflowing with victims of coronavirus.
Not only are we seeing that death toll rise now, unfortunately, we're expecting this.
You know, again, you can think what you want, but when you look at the actual numbers in New York State, and we're going to do that right now for everybody, okay? And by the way, all the number related articles, I never do this, but there is a Google document in the description right now. You can check it out. So today it was low. It's 540, if you can call that low in New York State, because that's high. Okay, and this is just from coronavirus. This is not total lives lost in the state. These are the confirmed cases, and we're going to go over how they confirm them because people don't seem to be getting that as well. Okay, so these are the confirmed cases, and they're not just adding in the other ones, and I'll show you why not later. Okay, so 540 would be low, but remember, they had 2,000 more cases admitted into the hospital. I've never said this has had a high mortality rate. In fact, I've said the opposite, that it's been around a while, and a lot of people got this and didn't even know they had it. Okay, but at the same time, you have to acknowledge it's real because people are dying in mass. All right? I mean, here we go. So when we get to this right here, I reported on this because it's important. The teams are retrieving 280 bodies a day from New York City's homes. And no, not all of them were in the official death tally. Do you get that? And everybody who wants to talk about the sources, again, that was a CNN video and a Daily Mail article. Okay, is Business Insider not a good source? The New York Times isn't a good source. I'm not promoting all of everything that's presented by a media outlet because I'm showing you this. Okay, this isn't what's being shown in the mainstream all the time. And this isn't fear-mongering. This is real. How many people die a day in New York City? Usually. Okay? What's the usual number? I'm glad you asked that. Okay? Because we have that number. Let's see. Is this it right here? No, it's the number right here. And by the way, when they were getting picked up in their homes, it was in Enterprise Renovans by the military. Okay? See? Those are military boots. And this wasn't the new, this was given to the Daily Beast. All right, so that's how they're actually adding these later, because they actually do test them later. And let's show you that too, because a lot of people aren't going to believe me that they don't just mark them COVID because they want the money. Do you know how much money it costs to visit a hospital and stay in a hospital in New York City? When you say $19,000 or $39,000, especially if you end up on the vent and dying, if you're on that vent for a week or two, and I'm going to show you why the numbers are gradually going down, and I don't necessarily think it's because of the lockdown, by the way. Okay? And I've told you it was going to be the worst in New York City, which it is because of the density of the population. It was that simple. Okay? See, here's someone who's just mentally blind, won't look at the facts that I'm showing, the numbers that I'm showing, the evidence that I'm showing. Earthquake 1, definitely overcounting. 145 people usually die in New York City at these times. Okay, and in fact, I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to show you that right here. Just so anybody wants to see that chart, because there's plenty here. And then I'm going to show you what Brick says. Is it over that one here? Because there's the flu-like chart right here. Let's see. Yeah, the overcounting. By the way, this is the pneumonia one. Okay? See how they're going, oh, look, they're not counting pneumonia anymore. No. The data, this is from 2019 in the first weeks. Okay, it's going to go back to 2018. You notice how that bottom one keeps going up? There's 2015. Do you understand how this works? Are you ready to admit everybody that put this stupid meme down is wrong? Do you get it? Do you get how it catches up? I know that Candace Owens and others promoted that. It's not real. I exposed this on The Last Vagabond, but you won't check it out. Believe me, the link to the Google Doc with all this stuff is in there. Okay? So there's also a good one here for New York. Okay? They say about 160 people die in New York City each day. Okay? But obviously, you're seeing more people die of that. The vast majority of these deaths, okay, about 90%, say that, are New York City. I want to say that, okay? And if you look at the bottom there, it says 504 hospitals, 36 nursing homes. They're not counting the ones that have died at home, and that is slowing down. Remember, I'm going to go over that later, but they're not putting as many people on vents, and they are trying other treatments. Even up here, I want to show this paper to people. They're doing 3 anti-coronavirus drugs that aren't the antivirals and hydroxychloroquine. We'll get to why the death rate's going down, and it is good. And what I've been promoting is a solution to this, never a lockdown. Okay, I want to put that out there too, because people are trying to spin this narrative, man, that people haven't died. And it's crazy to me because people are still dying. Now, on the flip of that, are nurses getting laid off? You're right, they are, because they're not taking elective surgeries. And in a place like mine, the beds are 80% empty for sure, especially in upstate New York, because there's only been, a few hospitalizations for this in each facility. And in Albany, they've moved people up from the city, admittedly, okay? So let's go to a place that hopefully people are going to understand. Now, this is 2017. This is 2015. If I wanted, I go to 2010. We'll go all the way down there. That 10 years ago, it was at 144,000, less people. But if you look at the rates, let's go back to 15. It's a higher death rate now. There's 153,000, okay? Let's go by the latest one. 155,000 people die a year in New York State. A year, okay? You get it? Now, what's that mean? What does that number actually represent? Well, it shows you that also the pneumonia rate here, we'll get to that. Cause of death, where is it? Where's the pneumonia? There it is, 4,000. And if you look at the other one, it's similar. Okay, in New York alone, just look at the pneumonia deaths. Because usually when we're talking about the flu, then you get the pneumonia, you die. All right, we've had way more than that. Way more than that. Again, when you look at that number right here, let's just look at what they've reported. And again, when we talk about this and whether they're reporting the bodies, anybody can scroll down in this article. It's in the link, in the coronavirus link. Where is it? Come on, Business Insider, don't make me, there it is. So this video here, I'll try to play some audio for you. Let's see if it'll go. See if anybody can hear it. But it's in there. All right, this is how a certificate actually works.
To be cremated or buried, the medical examiner's office has to clear the cause of death on the death certificate.
So now what's happening is doctors that don't have confirmed case of COVID, they're putting pneumonia. So now they're not accepting this cause of death. So we have to wait to get the right cause of death that would be cleared for cremation.
It's taking up to 3 days to get a death certificate fixed.
The other problem we're having is we're not getting death certificates online quick enough. The doctors are overwhelmed.
So again, you can believe like all these medical personnel are lying. And by the way, show me one whistleblower, nurse, or doctor from New York City saying that this isn't a problem, that this isn't happening. And by the way, let's go back to that 4,500 pneumonia number. All right, let's do some simple math. Some simple math. Let's just round this one right here. That's 1,400. All right, there's another 1,350. We're at 3,750 in 4 days, but it's not the flu, right? And then you can add another 12,000 right there. That would be, if you saw the numbers, add them all up behind me, that's more than the amount of people that die from pneumonia each year in the full state, on average. All right? That's all. So again, to say they're inflating the numbers, why are all these people dying? Okay, and why are now the death rates going down if it's not for the lockdown, which I never called for, okay? I think the fact that the military is running Operation Gotham 2020 right now, that's apparently the operation that they're running. That needs to be checked out. I also want to point out that even BRICS, when, where is that too? Because I've got that somewhere here, yeah. Even BRICS, and this also has a ton of great information about how they're actually counting them. She said the individuals will have underlying conditions, but that underlying condition did not cause the acute death when it's related to a COVID infection. In fact, it's the opposite. She did clarify that. I know a lot of people want to run with that clip. It is the opposite. Because when you look at New York, what is the number one comorbidity? or pre-existing condition. They were obese. They were obese. I've been talking about that. Big Americans. I mean, Jim, you can be disappointed by not looking at the actual numbers. Okay? I'm in New York State. This is a reality. In the city, a lot of people have died. They did use Hart Island to bury a bunch of those people, quote unquote, temporarily. And I'm glad they've got it under control. So, let's get to that. And the fact that this is a bioweapon, that it is a real disease, that I've been reporting since this is a combination of SARS and AIDS that can cause irreversible lung damage. Very real. Okay? I mean, anybody can look into it. This is the damage it can do. It can literally do a cystic fibrosis like effect after the fact if you have a bad go of it and survive. Okay? And by the way, if you want to know how the testing actually goes nationally, but I mean, guys, to spend 2 weeks in a hospital in New York, all right, I want to make this very clear, in New York City especially, $39,000, you burn through that in 2 days. If you think that they would do that for money, you're out of your mind, okay? And by the way, 80% chance that if you're on a vent, you get off. My state senator, I keep reporting on this, but he actually did. They took him to Albany Med, and he had the pre-existing condition of cancer. He's a heavier set guy. But again, he's a state senator. He's connected. They did put him into a induced coma, and he rebounded. So again, maybe that didn't happen either. So who do I really credit in New York City? Well, aside from the fact that now they are using vitamin C in some cases, IV steroids like methylprednisolone, which I'm reading directly from my nurse source in Queens. Remember, we talked about that. In fact, let's read that. Because remember, she gave me an update this week. And I read it. If you're not following, I guess you haven't read it or seen it, but I reported it. When she told me on Monday that 900 plus COVID patients had been discharged. She said it's over 1,000. She said that was just her hospital. And then she said the past week, our numbers of patients coming in was lower than it has been in months, as well as decreased admissions. People that had already been admitted to the hospital were dying. We heard lots of rapid responses in code blue, but not everyone died. Calls were every 15 to 30 minutes last week. So let's see, we're almost a week away, almost 2 weeks ago now, okay? Those calls were every 15 to 30 minutes last week. Now the calls are much longer apart. It's great, filled with much more hope. Most of the COVID patients that were coming into the ER were getting sent back home as well. Most of them have been stable, and that would be the people that also died at home, okay? We have stopped using vents as much. And let's stop that, because one of the people that needs to be credited with that, this guy went viral and the mainstream media never, ever touched him. Not en masse anyway. They will eventually. They'll have to, because he'll be part of the success unit. Almost 700,000. And a lot of people reposted this video. All right. Now, if you follow him, Cameron Kyle Siddell, and I have been following him, by the way, you'll see that he made it also into the New York Times on the 14th, 4 days ago. They did another article on this, and he's putting out real information on what this is. All right. There's different types. Okay. And he's pulling away the fact that this is pneumonia, and that he basically said vents can do more harm than good. So that's why the death rate's going down, because of guys like that. Did you see him all over the place? Now, again, the hydroxychloroquine, the zinc, the Z-Pak, the other antivirals, and I've covered them here. Good if they're working. We even covered the microdosing of thimerosal, TML. In fact, people like Dr. Shiva, I'm glad that we're offering solutions. But to try to say that the numbers are inflated, please go through all those numbers. Because in the past 5 days, they're attributing more deaths. And again, not all of them. When they say, and I want to say it again, because some people do die at home of this, believe it or not. When they say this, when you see that number, that's more than the amount of people that die of pneumonia a year in the United States. Oh, I still got Whitney Webb's name up there. She's my last guest. So, want to come back to here. I also included this. because even in beginning in March, and now that you're seeing more and more outbreaks in nursing homes, right? Because they are the most vulnerable. Nobody's saying it's not. That can cause massive death. Please watch this video, and you'll understand that family members were fighting to not only get tested themselves at that point, but have their dead family members be tested to find out whether or not they actually had it. And in most cases, they were not tested, okay? And they just put down natural causes as their death, actually downplaying the numbers. And remember, China just had to admit yesterday they doubled their numbers. It's a lot more than doubling of their numbers, guys. So I don't know what else to say. You know, show me one New York doctor in the city or nurse in the city that's a whistleblower that's saying this is all made up, that the ERs weren't full weeks ago, that this isn't a real virus, okay, that it's not different than the pneumonia or the flu, and then challenge the numbers I just showed. The numbers for New York State and deaths are right there. They are right there. Anybody can check them out, okay? And something's killing these people. So if 150, 160 people are dying in New York City every day on average, and we're seeing more than 3 times that, that's, I mean, what else do you say to that? I don't know what else to say. And again, saying there's not a virus when my own cousin, who had to beg to get tested in downstate New York, not in the city, but downstate, gets tested, comes up negative. They tell her she had pneumonia. She's never felt sicker in her life. Then they call her back. She goes to Bear Mountain testing facility last Saturday, 1 week ago. And then on Thursday, she gets a positive result. And I'm not saying the tests aren't flawed. And I don't know what else to say. But I do know that, you know, like it or not, whether you believe it or not, we are still currently what? Under martial law. We are still under martial law. The military is still activated. I understand states are reopening. And believe me, out of all the states, I want out of New York the worst. The worst. I'm not for the authoritarianism. And I don't think we've seen the economic repercussions yet, because in my state, while other ones are starting to open up, now, you know, there are people that'll give you a bad review all over the place if you're a restaurant and you're delivering without the masks. You know, the masks are mandatory. People will yell at you on the street if you're not wearing a mask, and I'm an upstate. And I've always talked about the solution being worse than the problem. And I've always talked about the solutions actually being treatments that are not what? Vaccines promoted by the World Health Organization, the UN, and all these organizations that lie through their teeth. So I hope I'm correcting some narratives here, because I don't think I fear-mongered at all. And, you know, those that are saying that I'm still fear-mongering numbers, they're not paying attention. They don't know how the tests work. They don't know how they're really reporting them. Okay, they're not looking into the entire debunking of those things, including charts, including actual quotes. And I'm not a Fauci fan or a Bricks fan or any of that other stuff. But again, show me the whistleblower in New York City that is saying this is all fake, and not some douchebag on the street filming outside. I want a doctor. Because are you telling me this doctor that's really getting no national attention, who blew the whistle on how they were being treated, is lying? All the people running the morgues are lying. My 3 medical sources are lying. I'm lying about my cousin. I mean, come on, guys. Get real. Get with it. I hope that people understand that the ideas of this being a real virus and a bioweapon, right? And by the way, let's talk about that just really quick. You know, you have that being now said by Dr. Luc Montagnier, the guy who supposedly discovered HIV back in 1983, Nobel Prize winner from 2008, saying that HIV insertion in the genome, you know, or sequence in the genome has to be from a lab, right? I've been saying that for a while. We talked about the repercussions of this. And now the narrative is now, at least the anti-China bioweapon, China saying it's the United States, Iran saying it's the United States. The reverse narrative is leaked out of a lab in Wuhan, but it was for a vaccine and they were trying to do good and they just lied to everybody. Talk about limited hangout. No. Biowarfare programs are very real, okay? And they are run by every major nation state. And this, to me, does not seem like a nation state job, okay? What does it seem like? It seems like a predator class job that doesn't give a gosh darn about killing some people. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. So I love you guys. I hope that you'll check out the numbers yourself. You'll do a little investigating. You won't just go with the talking points. And if you appreciate truth, no matter how uncomfortable, because I'm not playing to an audience. People that want to say I'm a quote unquote truther, no, I tell the truth. Okay, there's a big difference. I don't go with the flow. I don't play into narratives. I challenge everything I see. I didn't want this virus to be real. I don't think the lockdowns are good. I'm glad people are trying to take back their freedom. I think this whole thing has been so Orwellian. I've been referring to it as COVID 1984, so I don't know what else to say. All right, guys. So if you can, 5, 10, 15 bucks, it means the world to me. Thumbs this video up, subscribe and share. I need your help more than ever. Check out Rockfin. I'm on there. Got some videos up. Mines, I'm going to be playing with that a little bit more today. I got to figure out exactly what I'm doing there. It's still a new platform. And I'm just going to say this. How dare I not trust the World Health Organization? How dare I not trust people that were participants in Event 201? How dare I not trust the Fauci? And how dare I say that the virus is real and it kills people? How dare I? But that's where we're at. Love you guys. See you on the flip.